That's our little test. Wave your hand. Okay, I'm going to wait. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Snapshots. We're just going to wait a few seconds to make sure that a few people are in at least. And then we'll get started. We did the little hand wave, which lets my hubby know that we have it where we need it to be.
That's what you see.
All right. So if you're on, oops, can you get rid of that? If you're on, say hi, and I'll know you're here. Should be able to comment down in the comment section. And then if you don't want to see the comments once we get started, just swipe your to the left and they'll be gone. Hi, Janet. Thanks for coming. Looks like we have 9 registered for today, which is great. So we'll just see how that goes. Got 2 people on. Don't know who the other... Oh, that'd be my hubby probably, eh? Would be. Oh, there's someone else. Just popped in. Hope they say hello so we know they're here. Okay. All right, so it's 3 o'clock, at least on my computer. So, hi, Mary Lou. Or sorry, 3:30. So I think we're going to get started. And as others come in, hopefully they'll say hi. And I can actually see the comments. We figured out how to do that. So that's going to work really well today. Okay, so for those that haven't been here before, which is no one at this point, I'm Sharon Ings, and I'm an independent Stampin' Demo from Ontario, Canada. Every Sunday, I do Sunday Snapshots at 3:30 and do a Facebook Live to showcase products and techniques. And today, we're going to do a handmade DSP. Now, a couple of terms, they use a couple of different terms. I call it hand-stamped DSP or double-sided paper. It's not double-sided in this case, so it's hand-stamped background paper. But if you're looking online to get some ideas, I found that there was more that popped up under One Sheet Wonder. And to me, One Sheet Wonder, the term usually means a sheet of patterned paper that you can make a number of cards from using a plan. So that wasn't really why I started searching under One Sheet Wonder, but I did notice that on Pinterest and YouTube, a lot of the ones that they were doing the pattern or the plan for the One Sheet Wonder were made from patterned paper that they had stamped themselves. So you can look under both to see what you're looking for. So anyways, we're not going to be actually making a card today. We're going to make the one sheet or the stamped background paper, and I'm going to actually show you some different levels and different kinds of doing it and ways to step it up a little bit. So the one we're going to do this afternoon is a stepped up one. But so I think what I'll do is, first of all, I'll show you. Hi, Velma. Thanks for coming. So first of all, I'm going to get rid of this now that we know we're here, and this. So first of all, I'm going to show you the order in how I did them, because it isn't something I've done a lot of, but I wanted to play with it and see how it turned out. And you can use any stamp set, any number of stamp sets, pick pieces out of different stamp sets that you like, and then play with them, because you might not be happy with them when you start. And that's what I found. I started out and I'm thinking, oh, I don't really like that, or just play with it. Just keep going. And even if you don't really like it when you're done, you might like it when you make a card. So having said that, one of the first ones I did was this one. And I used a bunch of different stamps for a bunch of different, I want to make sure I've got this in the right part so you can see it. There you go. A bunch of different stamps from a different stamp sets. I have this one, which is from a Parisian stamp set, I believe. And so is this outside design. The bumblebee was from the honeycomb bumblebee stamp set. And the leaves came from this same stamp set that the background stamp came in. So I stamped. So then the next step is you pick your colors. and go, I would suggest, with at least 3 different colors. This one is 3 different colors. I stamped off the background before and then when I did it, the outside design, I did not stamp off on that. So it made this same color, but quite a bit darker. And then just, you know, go and stamp them. We're going to do them. I just wanted to show you the different styles of doing it at this point in time. This one has a right side and a wrong side, so you need to take that into account. You can certainly use a stamp set that doesn't matter what side it is, and you're going to move it around any way you want. But in this particular one, it had a right side and a wrong side. Wasn't really happy with this one I got done. Not my favorite colors, for one thing. But I went ahead and made a card anyways. So this is the card that I made from that stamp set. And ultimately, when we were done, I was really happy with how it turned out. It's not completely Stampin' Up by any means. These I got from Michael's when I was working in Michael's, so they're years old. The background doily is in our new mini catalog, and those are the doilies that come from that, so that's definitely Stampin' Up. The leaves on this one, I colored the back of polka dotted vellum with a blend, stamping blend, and then punched them with my leaf punch card. So that's how I got that one. So that, and then I chose my colors again based on the colors that I had chosen for my stamped background. So that's one. Then the next one I just kind of grabbed onto, and this is the new Easter stamp. I'm not giving you the right names of these stamp sets, but they are in the mini catalogs as well. And I didn't want to have all of them on my desk today while we were looking at this. So this one I chose, this one was not gray granite, Sahara sand. And what pink was this? I can't remember. Oh, this is actually real red. And my real red stamp pad was getting very, very low, and it stamped a really kind of light color, which I liked quite nicely. And what I did with this one is stamp the outlined image, and then took my watercolor pen, you know, your watercolor thingy. What do you call those things? Just a minute. Whoops. Hang on. I lost you on my other thing here. Oh, dear. Let me just get that back. Sorry about that. I bumped into it and it fell down. Okay. Hi, Maria. Okay. So then I took my paint, my watercolor painter, and I just picked up a little bit of the ink off of a block and then went over the bunny and the chicks as well. The little bees I stamped, and I just used a, I think that was crushed curry on that one, very, very lightly. And then, you know, we're going to be using this stamp today, but this is out of the, it is out of the Friendly Hello stamp set, and it is one I have used so many times, and it just gives you all these wonderful little background dots. So it's really, really worth finding a little one that you like. And, you know, lots of times you look at a stamp set and there'll be a very tiny stamp in it, and you'll think, oh, I'll never use that. An example is the Catching Butterflies, the little grass in there. You think, oh, I'll never use that. But you can definitely use that, especially when you're doing something like this to fill in. So that's what these little dots are, and that just kind of finishes spaces where you haven't. Again, this is a directional one, so you need to be careful. So then after I did that one, I thought, I'm going to color the background. So I did the same. This is the same paper, cut off of the same sheet of paper actually, but I just took my sea foam blue blender pen, and I completed the background with that one. So it just gives you a completely, totally different look, which I like just as well. One thing to remember when you're doing this is very light, so the background designs that I put in here show through very well, but you wouldn't want to use a really dark one, or you're going to lose all of that little detail, and you'll kind of see that at the end of the day when we're done doing the one that we're going to make today. And then for that one, this is the card I made with this one. And again, it's a baby card. I just popped up the little, this is our new frayed ribbon, and I popped it up. I had these left over. I think these were from Michael's as well. And I just made a really cute little baby card that could be for a boy or a girl, because it is both the pink and the blue, but picked up the colors that were in my background paper, and then just cut out one of the little onesies and put it on the inside of the card as well. So I was happy with that one once I was done. As I was doing it, again, I wasn't all that happy with it. But once I colored them in, I liked it a little bit better. So that's the second one. Then the third one was done with one of my favorite stamp sets. And this is the strawberry stamp set. So I just took the strawberry stamp. This is not a directional one. You could go in any direction with this one. So make sure that when you're stamping your background, you're twisting and turning your strawberries into different directions as well. This one is not one that would lend itself to being colored like the bunny one with your blenders in the back. There's just too much going on, and you would be really hard pressed to get around all these leaves. So if you're going to color them in, you want designs that are really easy or easier to get around, or even a design that has a really solid outline similar to this. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze in a minute. Excuse me. Okay, I was fairly happy with that once I got it done. So then when I finished with that one, I decided that you could also probably add a bit more color if you liked. And I went over top of this with my blending brushes and my real red, which again has gone really pink, just to give it another look as well. So when you made a card with that, that would give you a different look. And then with that one, this is the card that I made with that one, using my new favorite die cuts, which are I don't have them with me. Oh no, I do have them. They're right here. They are called Scallop Contours dies, and I love them. You're going to see a couple of other cards where I used them on them as well. And so cut out a strawberry and put it on afterwards separately, but I really kind of liked how that one turned out as well. Then, as I said, as I went along, I got a little more comfortable with what I was doing. You'll see that here's the practice page on the back where I was playing with it. But the difference between this one and the other ones that we looked at that I've done is they were all done on a white background, and I decided to try it on a colored background. So this is my, I believe this is Crushed Curry or Bumblebee. I'm not sure which, the paper. And then again, I chose my colors to make my paper coordinating with the background. So for this one, I used the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set for that. And then I went and got an old cup of a lid of a jar that I had and just inked it just a tiny little bit. So I don't know if you can see that, but if you look close, I've got these little circles in different places on the paper. And that's what I made with the lid. I kind of wanted to make it look like coffee stains in a way. But anyways, that's kind of just another finishing touch and to fill in spaces. And on this one, everything is a play, because you just try. Just try it. If you think it might work, try it. So in this particular one, I took my my stamping ink, white craft ink, and I dotted it on with one of my dot tools. However, I found that it didn't dry. It took a very long time to dry. So when I dabbed it, I got a flatter look to it, which isn't bad. You still can see it when you look at it closely, but it wasn't really the effect that I was looking for. So I know there's other products that we have that you could probably use to make that stand up a little bit better. Again, these are not colors that I normally work with. I'm not a big yellow fan, or definitely not a brown fan, but I wanted to do something different a little with my comfort zone. And then this is the card that I ended up with making for that one. Again, with the new dies that I'm in love with. I really am. I did a little blending brush around the outside of that one. And this, you can't see it very well, but this is actually embossed with the script embossing folder. So that gives you a bit more dimension in the background as well. And then I pop this top piece up, and of course we got a little bit of bling on there. So that's that one. And then this one, again, the same stamp set, but I didn't want to go with the plain white background after I tried the color background. I thought, oh, I kind of like it when there's a bit more to it. So I used my blending brushes, and three of the three colors that I've chosen to stamp with I actually did a blending background. This is what we're going to do today, similar to this, but we're going to step it up a little bit. And then I used the butterflies from a different, I think it was from a nature stamp set. I don't think that's even a current stamp set now. And then again, those wonderful little dots that I did just to fill in spaces that weren't filled in. And then the card I made with that one is this one. And I took this, and I know that Stampin' Up still has the pastel pencils, but years ago they had a big, Maria, you're going to remember this, they had a big package that were so many different colors of chalk pastels. I still have mine. They still work perfectly, and that's exactly what I used on this, was my chalk pastels, and it gives it a nice soft look. So I was happy with that as well. So let's do one. As I say, you can use any stamp you want. Just you can do it on 8.5 by 11 paper. You can do it on or 12 by 12 if you have 12 by 12. You can do it on color. I would suggest you're going to want a lighter color, not too dark, because you want to make sure that your stamps are going to show up on it, unless you're looking for a completely monochromatic look, and then you could probably use a lighter one. But in my opinion, it works better on a lighter background. So the stamp sets we're going to use are, and as I say, it doesn't matter where you have these, you just pick any stamp set you like, but we're going to be using the Blessings of Home from the mini catalog. We're going to be using the butterflies from Catching Butterflies, and we're going to use that wonderful little dot stamp from the Friendly Hello. So those are the 3 stamps, and I happen to have them all on my blocks. But we're going to do our background first. So the colors I chose for the backgrounds and the colors we're going to use in our card, although we're not going to make a card today, but I'm going to show you the card that I did based on it, are Misty Moonlight, look at how messy this is, Soft Succulent, and Balmy Blue. So those are our 3 colors. So first we're going to do a little blending on the background because we want to step this paper up a little bit. So let's start with our Soft Succulent. Our amazing blending brushes, which I absolutely love. Now we're going to get it a little messy here. Let me get a piece of paper just so we're not messing up our nice clean paper that's here. I'll just shove this underneath here. Okay. So you want a very, very soft look. So you're not going to go in, I'm going to move this in so you can see it. You're not going to tap on your ink pad and then go directly onto your paper. You're going to get a really dark circle that you're not going to like. So you're going to get rid of a little bit of ink off your side here, and then just go in from the side wherever you can. Now, obviously, when you get into the middle, you're not going to be able to do this. You're going to have to work from doing it the other way. But for now, we're just going to do this corner. And you want to spread this out a little bit. So now we're going to try going in this circle. So start light, and then you won't get, I want to show you what happens if you don't start light. If you don't start light and you go in the middle, you're going to get that, and you don't want that. So that's why you want to start very, very light by brushing off to begin with, and light circles to begin with. Now you're going to get a bit of modeling, and that's okay because that's kind of the look you want on the background anyways. You don't want it really dark. And we're going to use 3 colors, so we're going to not do the whole thing. I just keep twisting it around till I see where I want to put this color. I find if I hold my fingers up here on the actual brush itself, I get a bit more pressure and I get to do it a little bit more how I want it to look. Let's just go over this corner here. And we can always go back in if we don't have it exactly as we want it. So we'll leave that open just till we continue on with the other colors. So this is my Balmy Blue, which is the lighter blue. And we'll go in here. I found that when I got, and you want to leave a little bit of white space too. You don't want to, you'll see that when we get finished, we're going to have some white spaces left as well. Spin that around. Okay, maybe a little bit over here. Now, while we're doing this, I just want to tell you, somebody asked me the other day where my name came from for the Arting's creation part of my name. And so I told them the little story, and that I started out originally being Craftings, which is suggested, I think, by one of my children. So using my last name as the end of the name of my business, if you want to call it that. But then an artist one day told me, when she was looking at my work somewhere, I don't remember where we were now, but anyway, she said to me, why do you use the word craft? And I said, well, that's what I do. And she said, well, no, you don't. What you do is art. So I don't think it should say art. I don't think it should say art. Or sorry, I don't think it should say craft. I think it should say art. So I thought about it for a little while. And then I thought, you know what? She's right. What we do is art, because we're creating something. Yes, we have a stamp to start out with maybe, but we create something from that stamp. So it is art. And it was also a play on words, because that happens to be my father's name. And he was my biggest fan and my biggest supporter at that time. I think I have my hubby now who does the same thing. And I thought, you know, that's how the change came about, and that's where it came from. Oh, see, I got one of those little dobbies there. We'll have to make sure we really stamp on that. Okay. I hear my hubby laughing in the background on that comment, I guess. He's laughing at. All right, let's just get a little more green in here. I'm trying to hurry. That's what's happening, so I'm not boring you with the background here. Let's put a little more green in here. Okay, so that's great. I just dumped that on the blue background. But anyways, we're good. Okay, I'm happy with that. I don't want it to be completely dark, so we are going to get rid of our colored ones. And you see we got some white spaces here and over here, and that's fine, but we don't have that solid, stark white background that we had before. Okay, we can get rid of that scrap now. So now I am going to stamp this one in Memento Black, because I want to be able to show you the card that I made. And I actually used, so now this is a big stamp, so we're going to use our stamp pad on the stamp instead of our stamp on the stamp pad. I can get some good coverage here. All right, so no rhyme or reason where you start. You want them evenly spaced, but you want them in all different directions. So let's start here in a corner. This would make a great scrapbook page once you get it done, a great background for a scrapbook page. You don't have to cut it at all, but for the most part, you're probably going to cut this up to make cards. So let's turn this one this way. So you don't want huge, big spaces in between, but you do want a little bit of space in between. So let's do this one this way. It's a very pretty stamp. And then let's turn it around this time. And let's go down in this corner. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm just kind of rubbing this on my stamp pad. Probably off screen while I'm doing that. Let's tip this one up this way. Let me just move that over so I can show you here. And let's go over here a little bit. This is a nice big stamp, so it takes up a lot of the paper to begin with. So you don't have to stamp a zillion in one times. All right, let's put this one up here and go off a little. And now we're going to fill in some spaces. I'm going to put one over in the corner. But off, I should use that, still use that paper. My background's going to get all mucky. So let's just do this one off the corner. And now we're going to use the ends to fill in just some spaces. So I'm just going to ink up the one little end of that one. Put one there. I'm going to use the other end. Put one here. Let's have a look. And then, now you could fill up the spaces with one of the other stamps in the stamp. There's another smaller one, this one. But this one, to me, if you could do it without the stems would be great. But with the stems, that means you're going to have to go in a certain direction. So that's why I chose not to use that one as my other one. I think that's good. I don't think I want any more of that big one on there. Okay. So now we're going to take and do our little, I want to think about this for a minute. Whether I want my little backgrounds in, I'm going to do those in the Misty Moonlight. I'm going to do those in blue. And you'll see why in a minute. Actually, let's do the step first. Let's leave this little one to the end. So we're going to step this one up a little bit by doing some embossing on this one. So the other stamps I have out of the butterfly one is this, these are these little butterflies. But I want these little butterflies to be embossed, and I want them to be gold. And then we're going to do something with your background afterwards. So let's get our embossing stuff, which is right here. Let's make sure we remember to use our buddy on the paper because we've been touching it all over. We want to get rid of any fingerprints and grease that we might have on there. We'll take our Versamark pad and we'll take this cute little butterfly stamp. This one I find I had to be very careful with because the edges caught very easily. So we're going to turn it in all different directions here. And this one looks funny. It looks like it's only half a butterfly, but it is really only half a butterfly. So not to worry if it looks like that's how it was made. So we're stamping these in Versamark and we're filling in different spots. Again, you're going to want to make sure you go off the corners of the page in some spots. One more over here. Hard to see where you've got it when you got the... I think that's pretty good though. I've got another little butterfly that we can do in the blue afterwards. I just only want to do these ones in the gold embossing, so we're not going to do that. We're going to use that. All right, so let's get our big paper out here because we're going to need to be able to not have embossing powder all over the place. So we're going to get our gold embossing powder, and this is the new, this is the Stampin' Up one that comes with the gold, the silver, and the bronze. And I'm going to do it in gold. So we're going to catch all these butterflies. Probably getting this really close to the camera, sorry. There's this one, and there's some over here. Gotta remember where I put them all. And in the middle, I think I got those ones already, but here. Okay. Oh, And I did some off that corner too, didn't I? Okay, make sure there's no lines from that. Nope, that looks good. Okay, set this aside. Please bear with me with the noise here. We'll let this warm up a little bit. Put that away later. Get this melted and shiny. This gives it a different, kind of a very upgraded look. Okay, let me make sure I got them all. I think I did. I did. Okay, turn off that noisy thing. Okay, so that gives us, again, a different look. Now, you could go about, let me just get rid of all that. You could go about finishing this in a lot of different ways. But I'm going to show you what I did with one of the ones that I did. And then that's why I was late coming. I thought I'm not going to get on in time because I got so enthralled with trying it with different things that it was pretty amazing. I used my watercolor pencils. And I picked the colors that I thought would go with what we've already done. And I'm only going to do one to show you on here because we're not actually going to make a card. But so you can do it with a number of things. You could do it with your chalks. You could do it with your blenders just as easily. But I wanted to use my pencils. So I'm going to I have dark and a light blue. I'm just going to do one quickly so I can show you, because I want to show you don't be fussy, don't be perfect, just get the color on there. This is my lightest color. Don't worry about the little circles because we're going to use a magic product afterwards that works so easy and covers all of these little uncovered areas. Now I'm going to use a darker one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time coloring, but when the coloring tip, I will tell you that when you're coloring, you're going to darken in the shaded areas. So wherever something would be shaded because it's behind something else. So for instance, this petal is in behind these two petals. Then yes, you're going to want to do it where it joins from the middle of the flower, but also around those edges, because that's going to give you the definition you need to show that leaf is behind the one in front. But again, you're just not being really fussy with this. The artist here is giving you some lines to go with, but this leaf is behind this one, so I'm going to carry that out a bit farther. This one's behind this one, so I'm going to darken that. Just go up the center line here. This one's behind this one, and this one is behind this one. So then I take my blender pen, my Stampin' Up Blender Pen, used for water-based inks. Now, these are well used, you can tell that, but they last a really, really long time. And using the blender pen, you just treat it like you would. You could do this with your water painter, but I just find it's less messy and it doesn't warp the paper like your water blender does if you get too much water on it. And it blends just as nicely, and you don't even have to be fussy with how you color it to begin with because it blends it all in. But you still get that definition between the dark and the light. You can leave a little bit of white at the tip of the flower instead of going right out to the very end. And then you still get that really nice shaded and variegated look. I'm not going to color anymore. I'm going to show you one that I did and show you some techniques. But again, you could do, let's just do the center while we're at it. So I used my yellow for the center. Same idea. With that blender pen, you just want to make sure you wipe it off really well. Let's see my light source. Got most of my shadow here, so this would be the darker side of that. So you're going to add your second dark color there. Then your blender pen, just make sure it's clean, doesn't have any blue left on it. And you do that by going over paper over and over. And then you just go over that. And again, it'll blend that right in so you don't see those little lines. And your center has some definition as well. The leaves, I just did the same thing. Let's do this one. So my light green, quickly. This leaf, these two leaves this is behind this leaf, this petal. So we're going to go around it with the dark. You can, fan it out a little bit. And then this one is in behind here. Plus you're going to do your vein in the middle. Then take your blender brush and you're going to blend that as well. You get a really nice background look with that. Clean that off before I go. And then you can carry on. As I said, you can do with your blender brushes, you get the same sort of idea. So you might just find it easier just to do it with your blending brushes. So you would do your lightest color first. I actually even like it just like that. I mean, depending on what you want to do with the card, you don't even have to color the flowers if you don't want to. You could leave them as they are. And you're going to use your darker one. This one is behind. This one is behind. This one is a little bit behind, and so is that side. That one is in front. This one is behind. This one is behind. And then we're just going to use the artist marks for that one. And so when you do that one, I would go over it again with the light just to blend where those dark parts came out in with the light blue. Okay, and you get a different color, a different look. Of course, these are different colors to begin with, but a different look, but maybe a little smoother. If I look at it, I think it might look a little bit smoother. But I still have some spaces that I'm not really happy that they're completely blank. So let's use that wonderful little stamp. And I think I am going to do that in the midnight, which is what I would do, just to add that dark blue. And it'll depend whatever color you're going to do your flowers, I guess. But I just really like how that finishes off your paper. And you don't even have to, oops, let's put one right there since I got a line there that I don't want. There we go. Hide that. You can just stamp off. So they're not same darkness, change directions. And that just gives your paper a much nicer look. Now the card that I did with this paper that I did, I'm going to, and you could continue on and fill in a little bit more, but I actually like how that kind of looks. Okay, so that's pretty much it done, other than finishing your coloring. The card that I did with that one, I did it a little differently in that after I got it colored, I then colored the entire background with my black blender. So that's why I'm saying that you might want to decide what you're doing first, because adding these little dots in wouldn't make any sense. You're not going to see them if you're going to go around it with the black blender. This one isn't finished. I haven't got a sentiment on it yet. But there's a couple of different techniques I did on this one, just because I was trying different things. So this one, I embossed the outside edge of the leaves of the flowers after the fact, after I put all my colors on. So I don't know if you can actually see that that's done in the gold embossing or not. But and let me find my other piece that's left over, because I did play with it a little bit too. No, I don't see it there. Okay, and then on this one, I don't know if you can notice that the tips are whiter. And what I did with that one was, again, I took that white craft ink, put a little bit on, just a drop, you don't need much, on a block, and used a small brush, small kind of, I have a fan brush that I use. Not a fan brush, but a small flat bristled brush that I use. And just dabbed that in my craft ink, and then just pulled that on the tips of the flowers. Pulled it down to give the tips of the flowers a little white look. The gel pen didn't work because it wouldn't give me the actual blending that I wanted, but so the brush looked a little bit better. So the white craft ink looked better for that, I thought. So you could do the whole thing like that without doing the embossing on there if you wanted to. On this one, I embossed just a few of the little single butterflies that we didn't use on this one. But I kind of like this with the other butterflies. You could actually emboss this entire stamp in your gold or your silver or your copper, and then color it afterwards if you wanted to do that. That would keep it from running and give it a totally different look. Whatever you like, you can do it however you like. So that's just some suggestions for on how to do paper. Let's just get the rest of those cards back in here for a minute, and you'll see all of the cards that we did. So there's that one, and this one. And Maria, I'm doing another one, a different one for our challenge. I just wanted to play with it a little bit, so I knew what I was starting with, because it's not something that I've done a whole lot with. Let's see how far up we can see. So there's our cards. And then we have our first one here that we did. So that's all of the cards that I did with those background papers that I made. And you don't have to do a whole huge sheet. You can, of course, just, you know, make a small section big enough for a card. But if you're going to go to all the work of making your background paper, it's almost worth it to do it on a big sheet so that you have enough on here, which would be on this one enough to make a lot of cards. You can get quite a few cards out of there. Don't even waste your little strips that you cut off, because even those little pieces look pretty as a background on something. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for stopping in. Hi, Stella. Glad you could make it. If you have any questions, just give me a call or a Facebook message, and this will be this video will be up on Facebook probably by later on this afternoon, so you can catch it down the road on Facebook. It'll be there as well, but it'll also be on my YouTube channel. So thanks again for coming. Remember, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see on Snapshot Sunday, I would really appreciate you sending me a message, and I'll try to definitely do that. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.